mentioned in the previous video about the budget streamer build, I want to do an unboxing and overview of the Cooler Master N400 case. And so yeah, let's get into it. I'm just going to read the back of it real quick because, hey, why not? It's got a little bit of advertising text to reel you in. The MasterBox NR400 applies optimal cooling and expandability to a minimalistic, subtle design. With thermal capability at the forefront of features, the front panel and top panel offer generous airflow and ventilation. Practicality is blended to a compact design by maximizing use of internal space and implementing subtle design elements. The MasterBox NR400 features a tempered glass side panel fastened by thumb screws on the rear panel to keep the surface flush and unobstructed. Alright, well, it's in an unassuming brown box, which we're going to open. Invoice. So I'll just tip it over. I think it's kind of cool it was packed this way. Ooh. Nope. Now it's right side up. So I'll turn it over here. Comes with hard foam, packed with hard foam, and a plastic bag to avoid scratching. So that's good. Oh. Looks like there's instruction manual and accessories in a Ziploc bag, and some silicone dry stuff to keep things not moist. This is an mATX tower, so it's only going to support mATX and smaller boards. It's so tiny. Never actually built in this form factor, so that'll be fun. Just get rid of this stuff. This was delivered by FedEx, and luckily they didn't adhere to their stereotype and the thing came intact. When you first glance at the NR400, you can't help but just notice the understated look. It's more or less just a black box. Everything, however, looks very flush, and there's no sticking out parts. The front panel does have a nice stripe down the side, giving it a little bit of an elegant look there. And it's made of a mixture of steel and plastic. The dimensions are as follows: 411 millimeters in length, 210 millimeters in width, and 411 millimeters in height. You'll notice with the side glass panel that there are no screws on the corners. Instead, Cooler Master has opted to do a thumb screw on the back method, and I'll go ahead and take that off now and show you. You just simply untwist, pull, angle it out, and lift. The panel itself is held on by 3 tabs at the bottom, which you can see right here. And it's nice in that it has a black border frame, which you don't often see with cases of this price point, and is reinforced by metal on the top and bottom. I noticed that this is the version with the optical disk drive bay. There are 2 versions of the NR400, one with and one without. Unfortunately, in the US, we are not going to be getting the without optical drive bay version probably ever. I don't know why, but yeah, that's going to happen. When it comes to front panel removal, it's pretty simple. There's a little grippy area here. You just pull and it pops right off. So because it's made with a fine mesh, there is no additional filter, so essentially the front panel is your filter. Now, one good thing about the optical drive bay is it can be removed. So there are 2 screws here on the front, and I believe a screw here, and probably another one on the other side as well. So you have 2 screws in the front, 1 on the side, and possibly 1 on the back side. We'll check in a little bit. Included with the case is 120 millimeter fan. It's a 3-pin fan and has a souped fin design, more than likely to be static pressure as it's fairly close to the front panel. As far as fan support goes, you can have 220, 2 140s, or just a single 120 as we have here. Without the optical disk drive, you can actually move that up to 320 millimeter or 340. Nope, sorry, you're still stuck with 240 millimeters. So without this, you can have 320 millimeter fans installed. When it comes to radiator support, you can have 120 millimeter, a 140, or a 240mm radiator. The 280mm radiator may interfere with the hard drive mounted below the cage, but that can be removed or moved position. Without the optical disk drive, Radiator Support includes a 120, 140, 240, and 280mm option. At the top of the case, you'll find the power button, which is shaped like the Cooler Master logo, and it's kind of cool. Then you'll have a reset button. You have two USB 3.0 ports and a dual audio and mic jack. So if you have a 4-pole jack, 3.5mm jack, you can plug this in and use both, no problem. Of course, you might need a Y splitter if your headphone has those separated out. The power and reset button do not have a nice satisfactory clicky sound when you push them. When it comes to fan and radiator support at the top, with the optical disk drive bay installed, you can have one 120mm or one 140mm fan, as well as 120mm radiator. If you take that drive out, you can increase the fans to two 120mm or 240mm fans. Radiator support then increases also to one 240mm radiator. A nice thing about the positioning of the fan mounts on the top is that they are offset from the motherboard a little bit and facing closer to the front, so you won't run into as much interference. When you first open the case, you'll see that the top filter is actually magnetized and pinned to the back panel. It's a fine mesh filter, same kind of like in the front panel. It's again held on by 4 magnets. One thing I have noticed, however, is that the glue is coming off a little bit, so be careful there that you don't lose them, but it just goes on top right here. Magnets are really strong, which I like a lot. You'll also see that we have our rear 120mm fan. Again, this is just like the front. This is also 3-pin. We have 4 PCI covers, which are reusable. They're held in by screws. We have two 2.5-inch drive mounts. And then we have at least 2 of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cable holes are grommeted, which is nice to see grommets in a case of this price point. You can find this case for anywhere between, I've seen it anyway, $58.99 or to $64.99. The last time I saw it on B&H, for example, it was $64.99, and that was with free shipping and no sales tax in the US. With regards to the number of drives that you can have in this case, there are a total of 4 2.5-inch drive mounts, 2 in the front as I just showed, as well as 4 3.5-inch drive mounts, one of which is you can mount right underneath the optical disk drive bay if you get this version of the case, or if you keep the optical disk drive installed in the case. Additionally, this case supports a graphics card maximum length of 346mm, and as for CPU cooler clearance, it supports up to 166mm. On the bottom of the case, things are kept relatively simple. We have a dust filter here that's held to get on by tabs. Ideally, I would have liked to have had a pull mechanism where you can just easily remove the filter from the back of the case, or even more ideally, something that allows us to pull all the way from the front so that we don't have to reach behind. There are 4 nicely built feet that have rubber bottoms so that your case will not slide. If I were to give a guess as to the height of these feet, it's about 1/2 inch, which is like 12 or so millimeters. Now here's the back of the case. I've already kind of touched on the things for this. You have the PSU entry. There's no little backplate or anything like that. You're going to actually install the PSU from the side. Again, with the 4 PCI covers, those are all removable and reusable. And again, here's just a better view of showing the fan support. It's on more or less, I guess, not rails, but you can slide the fan up and down as needed. And again, support for 120mm radiator is here as well. Now we come to the back panel. There's no outdent for additional cable management room. It is held on by 2 captive thumb screws, which you just untwist. And you're good to go. Here you'll find the cables for the front I/O, the hard drive cage, as well as the cable tie-down points for your cable management. Additionally, as an extra, there's a 3-fan Molex powered hub. And as for cable tie-down points, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then for cable management holes, you have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I missed this one, 7. Right here, you'll find the two 2.5-inch drive mounting points. For PSU installation, it's a side-mounted affair. There are 4 little rubber vibration dampeners to help reduce any sound emitted from the PSU fan. With regards to how much room you have to play for cable management, there is roughly 15 millimeters of depth, which translates to about 3/4 of an inch. So you'll be able to tuck in that 24-pin and 8-pin EPS cable, no problem. And one thing I've already mentioned is that the hard drive caddy, at least I believe I mentioned it anyway, the hard drive caddy is removable and also repositional. It is held on simply by one screw, which we'll go ahead and undo. This is not captive. And then you just slide it out. There you go. So there are 2 little teeth here, and if you look back, there are 6 positional slots for it to go into, and there are 3 holes for the screws. In an effort to be truly toolless, Cooler Master included 2 pairs of these sleds that you would then just attach to the side of your hard drive. Apologize if this is a little out of focus. After that's installed, you simply line it up with the rails, and with a satisfying click, you've installed your hard drive. All you have to do now is go ahead and connect the 2 SATA power and data connections. This sled can accommodate 2 drives inside, and for a 3rd drive, you're going to actually use these little rubber dampeners that you'll just insert into the circles. Let me show you here. Cooler Master is making you do a little bit of work, I guess. I actually put them on this way, I think. This might be better. Yeah, so that actually fits a little better. So you have a whole bunch of these that you can use for the mounting points all over this case. Get them in. They're not the easiest, or I'm just special and not good at it. Anyway, once you get all 4, you'll just put the hard drive in. So imagine, oh no, that will face down. Okay, cool. So that lets you know for height. So you'll do that, and then you'll screw them in. And again, these serve as vibrational dampeners. And then one of the last things I want to go over before we put the case back together and the panels back on is the accessories bag. As I've already shown you, the case comes with 2 pairs of these rails or sleds to attach to the 3.5-inch hard drives that go in the drive caddy. Additionally, provided with a bunch of cable ties. Second, and then you're given about a handful, at least for me anyway, of these vibrational dampeners that will go into the various holes for 2.5 and 3.5-inch drive installation. You might also end up using these for the optical disk drive should you take advantage of that. Okay, I have all the various types of screws separated now, so we'll kind of go over these real quick. Right here you have your motherboard and fan screws. This is for the hard drive, any hard drive really that you install with those vibrational dampeners. These little screws here will screw into your 2.5-inch SSD drives, and then these will then go into those vibrational dampeners as well. So let me show you here. So you put this in your drive, and then you just kind of pop it in there, and it's more or less makes it like a toolless installation. These guys here are for your fans. So this goes into your fan, one of the corners, and then this goes into that. And it will split it out, and you have a fan installed without a screw. You only get 4 of these, so basically it's for 1 additional fan. But yeah, so any extras here from your, what am I trying to say here? If your fans don't have enough screws, which they should, almost every fan pack comes with 4 mounting screws, you should be able to use these no problem, provided you have extra from your motherboard, which I think you should have a few extras. And then we have this guy here, which looks to be a standoff remover, which is cool. So then you just put that in the standoff, your Phillips head screwdriver, and unscrew it. Speaking of standoffs, those are all pre-installed already for an mATX motherboard. Here's the manual that comes with the MasterBox NR400 with ODD. It's just foldable. It's really simple. First, you get a little pictorial guide of all the included screws and filters and things like that. Unfortunately, there is no written guide as to what these correspond to, so you kind of have to adhere to the illustrations. You open it up, you have essentially your motherboard installation, hard drive installation, and the hard drive caddy, which I already went over. SSD installation, again using those vibrational dampeners. Front panel removal, removing the ODD little cover. Let's see here, what else? I think it's graphics card installation, radiator installation. There's the ODD drive installation, more radiator installation here. It does come in multiple languages, but that's just warranty information. Then we have for front fan installation, here's using those weird little push pin type fan installers. Top radiator installation as well. And then I'm not 100% sure what that is. I think it's like a side ventilation maybe. Oh no, that's to get the top filter, because that was attached to the side, which is right there now on the top where it should be. And that's it. Like I said, really simple, ridiculously simple, honestly. User manual. Would have liked a little more information on what these are for, but I mean, you can more or less guess. That's it for the unboxing of the Cooler Master NR400. What do you guys think? Good things really do come in small packages. This is an affordable mATX case that has a lot of great features. It tries to incorporate as much of a toolless design as it can. It's got a nice tempered glass panel. Comes with 2 fans and included cable management grommets. It has a plethora of support for fans and radiators. I mean, this is a great little case for a great price, if you can find it, of course. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that like button, post any questions or comments you have down below. Love to hear from you. Get subscribed, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you don't miss out on any future content. I'll be building a small budget streamer PC in this case soon enough, so be sure to watch. I'm Seth, and I'll see you next time in the middle of nowhere.